Their leaders belong to you. The rest await extermination.
No. Gather them. I will take them all.
Sup, legends? It's your boy, Nothing Important here, and today we are back from our hiatus. I meant to come back before, but screw it, we're back now. Anyhow, it's Halloween, so you know exactly who I'm covering today. Oryx. We covered him last year, we got new stuff, so now we're covering him again this year. Since this is Halloween, we're going to be uber casual with this power scale, so I hope you all enjoy it. Today's table of contents will be quite short. Halloween only happens one time a year, so I'm looking to help you save time by simply going over the important stuff. So, we have two subjects, which is a rough overview of the Ascendant plane, and then for second, the new power scaling stuff, which has to do with the Witness and the Prismatic Guardian. Enjoy! Okay, so quick refresher on the Ascendant plane. The universe is in two halves of the same coin. The physical universe is on the top, and the Ascendant plane is on the bottom. The Ascendant plane shadows the physical realm. In essence, a shadow is not reachable in the normal sense. A shadow exists in the absence of light. That's the whole analogy between the plane and reality. Light and dark. The Ascendant plane represents dark. And unlike the physical realm, which is fixed and understood with solidity, the Ascendant plane is fluid. It's a thought-based realm, based on consciousness and power. The Ascendant plane is a rather simple to understand cosmos. It's a bunch of throne worlds stacking, to keep it simple. In essence, each and every throne world is ontological in nature. Ontology is one of the highest tiers of outerversal, and a lot of things within metaphysics has to serve an ontology, meaning they exist in some way, so therefore they have an ontological aspect. It doesn't have to be in the physical sort either. The reason why I bring this up is because the Ascendant plane and the throne worlds contain these 11 axioms. Space and time are two of them. Time passes according to the will of the throne world user, and space exists so you can go up, down, left, right, forward, backwards. This means a throne world by proxy would have to be outerversal to high outerversal. And then you have a throne world which stacks on top of that one, which is a complete transcendence of the one below it. And this goes on infinitely, and it doesn't stop, to put simply. Once you eventually become an Ascendant being, you then go to the top of the Ascendant, depending on the Hive of course, and then you reach the God tier. Ironically, the tier of the gods includes the court of Oryx, and the minor hive gods like Crota, the daughters of Oryx, and other children, such as Malak, so on and so forth. The easy part to understand is, above the god tier, you have 4 hive gods: Eris Morn, Xivu Arath, Savathun, and Oryx. These 4 each embody different concepts. The one we're looking at today is Oryx. Oryx, right now, hypothetically, if he were revived at full power with his Thorn World, no nerfs, he would be the strongest Hive God. If you said before Final Shape that Eris Morn was the strongest Hive God, I would agree with you on that because it was stated verbatim. After all, the fire team fought Rolk, and Rolk was stronger than full power Oryx, so you can make a really good case for Eris Morn being the legitimately strongest Hive God. However, she peaks at before Final Shape. The main character literally became the Traveler's Champion and fought the Witness. and beat the witness 3 times in a row, even if they needed help to do so. That's far more impressive than Ziva Wrath being turned into dust, more or less, by Eris Morn, and having her throne world just torn away from her. It's a no contest. The moment Oryx survives, sees the current circumstances of the multiverse, inevitably gets his emotional rage amp, and if we were to assume he has his throne world and he has no nerfs, and he has his Hives coming in, yeah, no, he's gonna destroy everyone. It's not even a joke. He would be really close to a peak Nezarec. He would definitely scale above Rolk because Rolk also peaks to before Final Shape. Nezarec has a chance to come back, but he's not really doing anything right now. Like, amongst the entire cast in Destiny of just antagonists alone, I would worry about Oryx coming back. Because the moment Oryx comes back, he's running that pack and it's not gonna go well. Let's just say it's not gonna go well. So, last note before I move on, which is the Dreaming City stuff, because I always forget to do this with Oryx for some freaking reason. So, before we fight Oryx, he runs the Fade on Mara Sov in the Dreaming City. He destroys her entire army, and then he goes to the Dreaming City and takes Riven. Riven is the undisputed ruler of the city, even though she's stuck in a prison. That's like the whole plot of Forsaken. It is the consequence of taking King, and the consequence of Cade's death. And it all culminates into that moment, which is a high pressure cooker DLC. That's why Forsaken was so good. So good. Praise Forsaken. Anyway, going back to the scaling, there are 2 Dreaming Cities. You have the Dreaming City we know and love, that Mara Sov rules, and then we have the Dreaming City that Riven created, which is her lair. These are narratively created cities. The Dreaming City is somewhat difficult to quantify within the scaling scene, but we can more or less put it like this. The Dreaming City in its prime has 3 throne worlds in it, so it's somewhat comparable to levels of the Ascendant plane. Let's say Mara Sov still used her throne world, where would we go? Well, she would be much stronger in her throne world and will have the chance to be around the main character in power. Not only that, but because we know there are 2 other throne worlds, and we say they're underneath Mara Sov's reign, and they stack under her world, presupposing, this means she's really strong in her throne world. Now, we have no way to compare that to the Traveler, who's amping the main character, but it goes without saying that she's pretty strong. She's the current ruler of the Awoken. She always has been, but she got like way stronger when she stole the power of Oryx. She can do some of the stuff that he can do from what we've seen, though we don't know if she can do everything or not. We know she doesn't have the power to take, however. Mara Sov isn't really all that important though. It's just, she's really strong, she's a faction head, but she's not as good as people think she is in a fight. It says she's this magic power battery, and that if you beat her, oh cool, you're in tier, but that doesn't mean like you're top tier or anything. She would get dog walked by Oryx. All the Ahamkar would be around Mara Sov or below in current day, and they too would get yeeted. It's not even a contest. More or less, that's what the Dreaming City stuff is. Mara Sov's story is more to do with plot related stuff. They used to be in a place that isn't in the solar system. Then they came back to the solar system, and they just stayed out on the side, just in orbit, and they made the reef their home. That's kind of it. The Woken don't do a whole lot, truth be told. For the new stuff, we have 2 sections. The first section is the Into the Light stuff, and the second part of the video is ranking Oryx amongst the Final Shape characters, because he's pretty high at his peak within Final Shape. Let's start with Into the Light. So, funny story related to the Into the Light stuff. A while back, me and my friend Burn Hunter Kaizen had a conversation on the canonicity of the Into the Light stuff, more or less Onslaught and Pantheon. I took the side that it is canon. He took the side that they were simulations. I didn't have everything I needed at the time to make a better case for the canonicity of Onslaught and Pantheon, but I felt like it's very easy to prove that they were canon. Well, I did some digging around in the Into the Light live streams, and I have some stuff I want to show you on the screen to make my case.
So, Jerome, we're here obviously going ahead and doing this for a reason, right? The ADU is here for a purpose. Can you help us understand a little bit about the role that plays in the defense that we're mounting against the Witness?
Absolutely. When all of the Guardians and their allies enter the portal to face down the Witness, Earth will be essentially undefended.
Yeah.
So it's important that we establish solid defenses now and claw back as much territory as we can in advance of our assault.
We have narrative lead Jerome Verreach. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name too horribly. Oh my god, I'm gonna get roasted so bad for this. And along with that, we can argue the canonicity of Pantheon because the raid bosses were back and they were amped with the Witness's power, but we had no way of knowing his true form existed, which we can confirm was the form he used to scare Callus back in Lightfall, by the way. So he had his true form before the Final Shape. So obviously, because they're using canon elements in Pantheon, that would have to be canon as well. So what is this doing for Oryx? To put simply, this would be the strongest version of Oryx we know yet. However, Pantheon Oryx would still cap below Final Shape. And the reason is he's not Traveler tier. He scales below Nezarec and Rolk, and they're kind of tied for number 1 at the top of the Pantheon bosses. So, like, it's really good scaling, and it's good for levels of power and so on and so forth. But compared to where he's ranked in Final Shape, it's not all that important in the grand scheme of things, although it is newer content since the last time I made a video on Oryx 12 months ago. So, for the last question in the video, where are we ranking Oryx within the Final Shape cast? To keep it simply, the Witness is at the top, the Fire Team is below the Witness, as it took the entirety of the Alliance to not only take on the Witness but also their forces. And then the main character is obviously below the Fire Team because they're an individual Guardian. The main character is the bar for Final Shape because they're the Traveler's champion. They're give or take around the Traveler. This means the Fire Team would also be around the Traveler. Oryx, in comparison, I don't think he could beat a peak Traveler, but I do think he is beating the Fire Team by himself. Now, this does mean that Oryx would completely destroy Xivu Wrath if she still had her throne world. And he obviously annihilates Savathun because Savathun lost to the Guardian one-on-one. Even though it was outside of her throne world, it doesn't change very much, if at all. And then there's the fact that the whole Fire Team plus 6 other Guardians fought the Witness, and it was just barely enough after the Witness was nerfed. So, Oryx is somewhere between 6-man and 12-man Fire Team level, give or take, but I don't think he's taking on the Witness at all. The best argument you can make for Oryx is maybe being somewhere around base form Witness. However, if we're saying base form Witness was amped by the Traveler in the Iconoclasm boss fight, then I still think he would be below the Witness because I don't think he would have a Traveler amp. Not in that case. He would lose to base form Witness. And that's ignoring the fact that the Witness is probably amped to start with, before true form. So, There you have it. Oryx is a freak. I would put him somewhere in the top 15 strongest characters within Destiny. He power creeps the crap out of Roll Canal, and that has been a very hard case to make since before Final Shape. You could debatably argue it after Lightfall, but now in the post Final Shape timeline, yeah, he beats Roll. That's it. The moment Oryx is back at his peak, full power, no nerfs, or something of the equivalent to match where his full power was, in comparison to what his nerf is making him be at, you best hope that Oryx doesn't come back. Let's just say that. Anyway, happy Halloween, Guardians, and let's pray Oryx never comes back, even though he probably will. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye!